Just ahead on News Channel 13 Live at noon, it's just become easier to track sex offenders in New York State. We'll explain. Convicted child abuser James Persons has been sentenced in Washington County. And meet some of the cast of NBC's new daytime drama, Sunset Beach. Plus, why you should pay close attention if your child has a stomach ache. It's all next on News Channel 13 Live at noon.
From WNYT, Albany, live, local, late breaking, with Benita Zahn and meteorologist Norm Sebastian. This is News Channel 13, live at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jim Kambrich, filling in for Benita Zahn. Our top story, it's just become easier to find out if a sex offender is living in your neighborhood. News Channel 13's Monica Mahaffey joins us live from the newsroom to explain. Monica?
Jim, as of today, the public can go to any local police department and find out if there's a dangerous sex offender living near them. A catalog of 4,000 high-risk offenders is part of Megan's Law, a law named for a New Jersey girl raped and killed by a neighbor with a history of sex offenses that no one knew about. The directory lists people convicted since January 20th of '96. Because of a lawsuit and court injunction, officials can't include names of sex offenders convicted before the law was passed. There'll be a hearing on that injunction on Monday. If you'd like to see the book, you can take a written request to your local police station. Jim?
All right, thank you, Monica. The arrest of an accused child killer has prompted quite a response in the city of Troy. Police there say since the arrest of 53-year-old Louis Van Wee Tuesday, they've received more than 50 phone calls from alleged victims and concerned parents. Van Wee is currently facing 13 counts of sexually abusing 4 children, but police say he's admitted to sexual contact with hundreds of young people over the last 40 years. Van Wee is in Troy City Court at this hour for a preliminary hearing. News Channel 13 is there as well, and we will have more for you tonight, beginning live at 5. A convicted Washington County child abuser has learned his fate. 22-year-old James Persons appeared for sentencing this morning for the beating of his infant son. He's been ordered to spend between 10.5 and 21 years in prison. A jury found him guilty last month on all counts against him. Prosecutors called it one of the worst cases of child abuse they had ever seen. Persons' son had broken ribs, a broken arm, and a broken leg. Next week's sentencing for admitted child killer Louis Lent has been postponed for several weeks. He was to return to Herkimer County Court next Thursday to be sentenced to 25 to life in the 1993 disappearance of Sarah Ann Wood, but authorities have not yet finished a pre-sentence report. Lent's attorney says he doesn't want to proceed without it. Federal prosecutors say the father of 2 Montgomery County girls recently reunited with their mother will not be charged for keeping them overseas. Investigators say charges against 32-year-old Daniel Evans were dropped, quote, out of the interest of justice. His 2 kids were returned to their mother in Fort Johnson last month. Evans returned them after learning that the FBI wanted to charge him with abduction. State police in Claverack are asking for your help this noon in tracking down 3 armed robbery suspects. They're accused of holding up the Extra Mart convenience store at State Route 203 and County Route 28. Investigators say one man held up the clerk at gunpoint while the other 2 waited in a getaway car. All are described as white males. Police say the one in the store appeared to be about 20 years old, 5'6", medium build. They took off in an older model black Ford Mustang. If you have any information in the case, call state police at 851-3111. A federal judge has reprimanded State Attorney General Dennis Vacco. According to him, or rather ordering him, I should say, to answer questions about his hiring practices. U.S. Magistrate David Homer has ordered Vacco now to submit more complete answers by the end of today, and that he must pay for some of his former employees' attorney's fees. All this stems from lawsuits filed by 2 former Vacco staff attorneys who sued, contending they were fired because they were not Republicans. Well, today, New York State's 4,000 public schools will be getting what they normally give, grades. The State Education Department is releasing report cards to rate schools on their effectiveness. It's part of a new campaign aimed at holding schools more accountable for their performance of their students. We don't have specifics yet, but preliminary information shows a decline in reading and English skills. Now on to Capitol Hill. Looks like Newt Gingrich will be getting a relatively light punishment from the House Ethics Committee and may remain Speaker. Joe Johns has more on a deal that may be in the works.
Everybody. Reports that a House subcommittee will recommend a reprimand for Speaker Newt Gingrich's ethics violations set off a skirmish on Capitol Hill. Under rules of the House, a reprimand would not cost Gingrich his job. In fact, it could clear the way for Republicans to re-elect Gingrich to another term as Speaker starting next week.
The bottom line to this is that he was found in violation of really nothing very serious.
Gingrich has admitted providing inaccurate information to the Ethics Committee and failing to seek legal advice about the proper use of tax-exempt money. But Gingrich's chief critic in Congress said no agreement has been reached on how to punish the Speaker.
And I think it's regrettable. I think what they were doing is trying to bolster the crumbling support of the Speaker.
Top Republicans deny that Gingrich is in danger of losing the vote.
I spent the last 2 weeks counting heads and noses and holding hands, and it's pretty clear to me that the Speaker is going to be reelected overwhelmingly by Republicans on Tuesday.
But some in the GOP have become increasingly critical of their leader.
The fact that he has contributed and so grossly mismanaged his own defense before the Ethics Committee, I think was an egregious error on his part.
The Speaker has been tight-lipped. He still has to face a hearing on the violations, a hearing scheduled to occur sometime after the vote on his re-election. Joe Johns, NBC News, Washington.
Another letter bomb has turned up at the main post office in Leavenworth, Kansas. Police say the device was found this morning. Now, this discovery comes a day after 7 similar bombs appeared. 4 of them went to the Washington offices of an Arabic newspaper. The FBI says that all carried an Egyptian postmark. None of the devices, though, have exploded. Olympic bombing figure Richard Jewell has reportedly won $500,000 in a settlement with NBC. The Wall Street Journal reports the network agreed to the payment to avert a threatened libel suit. The former security guard's lawyer said their client was libeled by reports linking him to the deadly bombing attack last summer at the Olympics in Atlanta. Stomach aches may seem common in kids, but they also may be a sign of something more serious. More on that right after the break. And later in this half hour, we'll introduce you to some of the actors from NBC's new daytime drama, Sunset Beach. In our health check this noon, stomach aches are common in kids, but sometimes they may be signaling a more serious problem. Dr. Carden Johnston explains.
14-month-old Kevin is not feeling well at all.
Yeah, he looks very drowsy, doesn't he?
He's been vomiting for about 8 hours, but he has no diarrhea and no fever. In addition, he's having episodes of severe pain. These signs are suggestive of intussusception, which is a telescoping of the bowels.
When the bowel telescopes and intussusception occurs, it looks a lot like this bicycle inner tube. This represents the small intestine, this the appendix, and all of this represents a large bowel. You can see what we mean by telescoping. The small bowel is swallowed by the large bowel. That causes pain and complete obstruction. It looks something like this. Until recently, we treated this problem with surgery, but now we treat it by pumping air into the large bowel. That pushes the small bowel back where it belongs, and that gets rid of the blockage.
To diagnose Kevin's intussusception, we have to take him to X-ray. The radiologist is carefully pushing the blockage back as we watch.
There it went.
All right, big man, we're done. Yes, we are.
We kept him overnight to be sure it wouldn't come back, but within an hour he was playing, just like he is now.
I'm Dr. Carden Johnston for NBC News.
And he's a happy camper now. In consumer news, shipping packages with UPS is about to get more expensive. United Parcel Service says it plans to raise fees for ground deliveries as much as 4.3% as of February 1st. The company blames higher labor and fuel costs. Fees for air service will go up roughly 3.9%. If you're hoping to see the sun this weekend, good luck. Paul says you're in for a bit of a disappointment. His complete forecast coming up in a moment. Things continue to get worse in flooded western states this noon. Tens of thousands of people have been forced from their homes as roads and highways turn into raging rivers, causing millions of dollars in damage. Governors of 5 western states have declared 70 counties disaster areas since storms began to sock it to them starting December 26th. I hope we don't have a similar deluge here, although it just seems the rain will just not quit.
That's true, Jim. I think the good news for us is that we don't have that huge snowpack that we had around this time last year. We picked up about a foot of snow, and then when it got warm out...
Remember the flooding?
All the flooding. And that's what's happening out there. This year for us, just some rain, and that's going to be the rule right on through the weekend, although I do believe we'll go through at least the next 24 to 36 hours with just mainly cloudy conditions. Right now, look at this, mild all the way up to 46 degrees at the noontime hour after a morning low of 31. A little bit of glaze on the roadways this morning, but that quickly melted off as temperatures rose rapidly. You can see the low temperature of 31. That's the normal high for the day, and the normal low is 12, so we're well above normal once again as we start off 1997. 61 the record high and a cold 14 below. 1970 is the record low. There are some breaks of sunshine outside as well, and that's allowing the temperature to rise up to the mid-40s. A northeast wind at 4. 88% relative humidity, so some patchy fog out there as well, with the barometer rising at 29.63. Lots of colors on our maps. Cold temperatures holding tough in northern New England and New York State. 21 in Messina, 22 Burlington, 23 Mount Washington, 26 as we head over to Portland. Mainly 30s and 40s throughout the central portion of the area. 39 in Utica, 36 Glens Falls right here, 46, and already 55 degrees in New York City. Head down to the city if you want to wear your shorts and t-shirt today. We have lots of showers on the radar scope, and this was mainly last night with some freezing rain, light and drizzle working its way off of the eastern seaboard. The next batch of showers worked their way to our south. Now just some spotty precipitation in the form of drizzle and a little bit of light rain, but as you saw, temperatures are mainly above the freezing point, so I'm not expecting any travel problems this afternoon on into the evening. In fact, Doppler radar shows Albany right in the middle here, the gray county. Pretty much no precipitation to speak of, north, south, east, and west, with the exception of some light rain showers as we head towards the southern Adirondacks. Satellite view shows the massive area of clouds over the eastern portion of the country. You can see it all develop over us. There are a few breaks in here, but mainly low-level moisture will not allow us to see that on the satellite view. The heat is still to the south, and another storm system getting organized out here in the Rocky Mountains, and that will provide us with some rain as we approach the second half of the weekend. But in the meantime, let's check this out. Warm front pushing through us now. Mid-40s, all of this warm air to the south. You can see it here from about Atlanta on over towards Dallas and New Orleans, south into Miami. It will be in the 80s today, while the floods continue out towards the west with the onshore flow. And these small systems will work their way across the country, and a better system will get organized here and work its way towards us. Indications right now that this will be a little bit slower, so I do believe tomorrow, for the most part, will be dry. Let's check the winter storm radar. We can see the little area of precipitation that worked off of the eastern seaboard that passed through here overnight, made things just a little slick. And now everything's melting away as temperatures are rising. But out towards the west, here are the beginnings of the storm system, which I'm watching for the weekend. And again, mainly just cloudy skies for the most part over the next couple of days. But as this storm gets organized, we're going to see some rainfall in here, probably late Saturday night and on and through the day on Sunday. So the forecast shapes up like this for the remainder of today. Mild, mostly cloudy skies, though. Some spotty drizzle around, but I do think for the most part we will be dry. Temperatures in the mid to upper 40s, mostly cloudy and mild for tonight. Patchy dense fog. Remember, overnight lows normally are around 12 degrees. Tonight, 30 to 35, so get out and enjoy it, I guess. Cloudy and becoming breezy tomorrow, 40 to 45. This is a bargain for January. Check this 4-day forecast out. Even when we get colder Sunday and Monday and Tuesday, we're looking at temperatures only for highs in the 30s, so we really have nothing to complain about here, except for you're a skier. Then you really have something to complain about because you want to get things going here. But as I tell all the skiers that come up and complain to me this time of the year, hey, we have all of January, all of February, and pretty much all of March to go skiing, so why not enjoy some mild weather? This time we could be well below zero.
Those snow guns are going to be working overtime on the slopes.
Yes, they will be.
All right, thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
Well, in just about 3 days from now, NBC will debut a new daytime drama called Sunset Beach. It's a first in a couple of ways. It's NBC's first new daytime drama in about 80 years, and it's the first daytime project for legendary producer Aaron Spelling. We'd like to welcome two members of the cast of the noon show today, Jason George, who plays lifeguard Michael Bourne, and Sherri Saum, who plays Vanessa Hart. Sunset Beach debuts Monday, January the 6th on News Channel 13 at 11 o'clock. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for joining us this noon.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, Jim.
Jason, I'd like you to tell me a little bit about your character. What sort of a person is he? What does he play in all this?
I play Michael Bourne, who's a lifeguard and surfer, a really nice guy, easygoing guy, good sense of humor. But the thing about Michael is he's a man of action, and that mainly comes from the fact of his past. Michael wasn't always a nice guy. He grew up in the streets, and so he knows what that's about, but he made a decision to lead a better life.
Sherri, tell me a little bit about your character.
Well, I play Vanessa Hart. She's a newspaper reporter, and she's very aggressive, and she's very determined, and she's very eager to get into everybody's lives and their secrets and their...
Geez, that's a surprise.
It's a lot of fun.
Jason, this is Spelling's first daytime drama project. Now, we all know that he's a very respected producer, but
Definitely.
Is there any sense of apprehension among the cast members as you head up against the other more well-established soaps?
No, not really, because we know that we've got things going for us that you don't see on daytime. The amount of location shooting. I mean, if you look at the footage that we've seen of location, it looks like film. It's fantastic. It's so beautiful. So, and plus we have some of the best writers in the business. So we know we've got all of the right players in the game, and so we're just waiting for the day to come.
Now, that brings me to my next question, Sherri. You are taping one show a day as opposed to how it's normally done, which I guess is one show every 7 to 10 days. Now, you're in the studio, you're outside on the beach, you're here, you're there, you're everywhere. How challenging is this schedule for you as an actress?
Well, it is challenging, but a lot of people ask me, you know, how this is so grueling for you, Sherri. Are you okay? Are you handling it? And I just can't tell you enough how exciting it is for me. I just can't wait to get here every day. I think it's just I'm up for the challenge because this is what I was like. This is my dream.
Jason, you were selected from a field of more than 14,000 people, I understand, from a national casting call here. Now that you're the pick, you're it. How much pressure do you feel on you now to play a part in trying to take the show to #1?
Most of the pressure, I mean, there's pressure there, but the producers, especially Aaron himself, are really wonderful about supporting us and making sure we understand that they believe in us. But most of the pressure that's put on me is by me. And so the thing that's fun is, it was 14,000 people nationally, but really what it comes down to is I was in the right place at the right time for the right role for me. So I connect with the character, so for the most part, I enjoy coming to work every day.
All right, very good. Jason, George, Sherri Saum, the best luck to both of you, and
Thank you.
success on the series. Best of luck to both of you. Thank you for joining us.
Take care.
And now let's take a look at when Sunset Beach is going to be coming up here on News Channel 13. As we told you, it debuts on Monday, January the 6th on News Channel 13 from 11 a.m. and runs till noontime. Whoopi Goldberg, Alec Baldwin, and James Woods bring a controversial part of history to the big screen. Jay Bobbin's up next with a review of the movie Ghosts of Mississippi. It was a controversial murder case that took nearly 35 years to come to its conclusion, and now it's the subject of director Rob Reiner's latest movie. An all-star cast brings Ghosts of Mississippi to life, and Jay Bobbin's here with a review. How's it look?
It looks, actually, I like it a lot better than some critics did, Jim. I think it's a very stirring drama, well directed by Rob Reiner, who has proven himself to be a real movie craftsman these last few years. In fact, The American President from 1995 was one of my favorite movies that year. This is much more serious material, though.
Kind of scary stuff here.
It is scary stuff, especially because we know it's real. It's about the Medgar Evers murder case. He, of course, being a big civil rights leader, or activist at least, in the 1960s. The man who was accused of murdering him, Byron D. LeBeckwith, it took 30 years to bring him to justice. And that's the thrust of the film, with Whoopi Goldberg playing Evers' widow Merle. Alec Baldwin is the prosecuting attorney, and James Woods, who you can barely recognize as Byron D. LeBeckwith. We'll see him in a second, but here's Whoopi Goldberg on the stand in Ghosts of Mississippi.
He was lying in the carport. Still had his keys in his hand. Blood everywhere. Children came out shortly after I did, and they were screaming, "Daddy, Daddy, get up. Daddy, please get up." But I knew he would never get up again.
This is easily her most dramatic work, Jim, since The Color Purple, and she does very, very well with it. Every actor in this does well. Alec Baldwin, who I'm give or take on, to be honest, depending on the project, does very well. But James Woods, we've got some footage we can show you right here while we're talking about him. As Byron D. LeBeckwith, you'll see the makeup on him. It's just remarkable. This is Alec Baldwin starting out, but you'll see Woods coming up behind him. He's got a Golden Globe nomination for his portrayal as D. LeBeckwith, and I got to speak with Woods right after he had done this. He'd done a Hallmark project, too, that kind of took opposite sides of the racial issue. And Woods says he himself was petrified by what had to come out of his mouth to portray the white supremacist that he does in this film. But it's a terrific performance, and I'd be very surprised if he doesn't get an Oscar nomination for it, too. A little showy, but this, in his own way, was who D. LeBeckwith was, and I think Woods does a very good job of capturing that. Very effective movie, I thought.
Indeed, we were talking before the program went on that there are some words in the movie, that racial epithets that are are objectionable to some.
There's no question. They don't make any bones about that, and frankly, we didn't want to do that here for that reason, because it certainly could be offensive to many people. But knowing what Ghosts of Mississippi is about, I think you kind of have to expect that also, and the kind of person Byron D. LeBeckwith evidently was. Rob Reiner, again, proving himself a fine craftsman, as he's done with A Few Good Men, and especially The American President. I think this is a solid piece of work.
What else is coming up, Jay?
Well, that's the big one for this week, but we can mention Evita opening next Friday. A lot of people waiting for that, and also The People versus Larry Flint opens next Friday.
All right, thank you, Jay. Good to see you again, sir.
You too, thanks.
This is an emotional day for the cast of the crew of NBC's Today Show. After 15 years as co-host of the program, Brian Gumbel has said goodbye. We'll have some of his final words after a break. Taking another look at today's top stories, it's just become easier for New Yorkers to find out if a dangerous sex offender is living near them. Convicted Washington County child abuser James Persons has been ordered to spend between 10.5 and 21 years in prison. And New York State's public schools find out today if they make the grade. We'll have those stories and the rest of the day's news tonight, beginning live at 5.
I've had a great time. I really have. I've had a great time. I hope that you have enjoyed it nearly as much, even a fraction as much, as I have. Thank you all very much. I mean that.
Brian Gumbel, the man famed for his controlled manner, had tears in his eyes and his voice cracked as he bade farewell to his colleagues today on The Today Show, which devoted much of its 2-hour program to paying tribute to its departing anchorman. After 15 years and at the height of his popularity, Gumbel says it's time to try out something new. He's now courting offers from other networks. ABC, believed to be the frontrunner, though it's not known what Gumbel or the network has in mind for his future. Now let's check in again with Paul for a last look at the forecast.
All right, Jim, lots of clouds outside. However, a few breaks of sunshine. It will be mild as we head on through the afternoon hours on into this evening, and maybe a few areas of spotty drizzle. But as you can see, temperatures way up into the 40s, so we're not worrying about any frozen precipitation. Tomorrow, lots of clouds around as well. We'll call it mild, 42 degrees. We bring in some rain Saturday night and on into Sunday. Monday, some snow showers, cooler 35.
All right, thank you, Paul. And that's News Channel 13 live at noon for this Friday. Have a great and safe weekend, everyone. We'll see you back here on Monday.
Thank you for watching News Channel 13. We'd like to hear from you. To contact us, call 1-800-999-WNYT, extension 615. News Channel 13. You can count on us.